the most awkward date you've ever been on?
Boy, that's easy for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, off the top of your head that
Immediate,
quickly?
that's easy,
Okay,
yeah.
let's hear it.
So I used to go to these church dances
Okay.
when I was probably 20, 21, and there would be other people that were the same
from
age
the same
showing up.
congregation kind of deal.
Yeah. But
What
there-
age range are we talking about?
We're talking about anywhere from 19 to probably 25, 28.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So young adult kind
Young
of
adult,
situation.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I went to church dances, but it was like 14 to 18 kind
Yeah.
of deal.
So these are young adult dances, and they put them on for kids who have graduated high school,
yeah.
but just, for a safe, good place for them to go.
Sure.
Have fun,
Yeah.
And so, and I dated for fun because I always figured if I'm either going to marry a girl or break up with her.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care.
Yeah.
So if I knew I wasn't going to marry the girl, I really didn't waste a lot of time.
Sure.
I would just move on. So I dated a lot of different people. And the people that I went to those dances with or knew me knew that. So everybody was always trying to set me up
Okay.
with people. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So after one of these dances one time, we're all leaving. It's probably midnight or so. And we're out in the parking lot, and a girl comes up, and she says, "Hey, my friend over there in the car," she was sitting in the back seat of the car with the window down.
Okay.
She said, "Hey, she would like to go out with you sometime." I said,
Yeah.
"That'd be great."
She saw you from across the dance
yeah,
floor.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. And so I said, "Yeah, let me grab her number." And she said, "I've got it right here," because she had already given it. So I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, I'll call her and we'll go out sometime."
So did you see her at all?
I saw her sitting in the back seat.
Was it kind of like a wave deal and she waved
Yeah,
back?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she had a pretty face.
Okay.
So I'm like, I like a pretty face,
Okay.
And so I guess a couple days later, I called her, and after I called her, I thought, you know what, I should probably meet her somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, rather
Not my
than picking
place,
her
not
up
her
or something.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know her that well, and she didn't know me.
Sure.
But when you meet somebody at a church event, usually it's pretty safe.
Yeah, but I can still see that's like,
Right.
all of a sudden I know where she lives on the first date. That
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we met in the parking lot of the Oak Cliff Bank Tower.
Okay.
So it's right along the freeway. She was coming in from one of the suburbs or something, and I lived in Dallas.
Okay.
And so I said, we'll meet there at a certain time. And so we both pulled up at the time, and she said, I have a Miata. She had a brand new little Miata,
Okay.
a Mazda Miata.
Okay.
So it's only like this tall.
What year are we talking about now?
We got to be talking about 85, 86.
85. But she didn't have an 85 Miata.
Oh, she did.
Really?
Yeah, I dated the rich girls, if I could. And I don't know if she was rich or not, but anybody that has
You were trying to marry into money because you didn't have none.
That's true. I never really
Yeah, is
cared
your dad
about
a
somebody's
dentist
money.
by chance?
Yeah, is he a
that,
dentist?
That was always your first question
No,
on
no,
a
no.
date?
Yeah, because I've met poor lawyers and I've met poor doctors, but I've never met a poor dentist. So,
Yeah. Always upper middle class on them dentists. Yeah.
I don't know what her dad did, but anyway. So
Do you remember her name?
I don't remember her name
Okay.
at all
Okay.
because it didn't really go very well, right? So
Sure.
she rolls up in this Miata, and at the time I had a Kawasaki Ninja motorcycle.
Okay.
So we were going to take her car anyway, right?
Sure.
I didn't even have a car.
Okay.
I had a motorcycle. And so she rolls up in this Miata, and she rolls up, and her face was just sparkling. She had a really pretty face, And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. So I walked over to kind of hop in the car, and she stood up, and I could barely see her head over the top of the car, and the car's only like this tall.
Oh.
She was probably only 4 foot something. Like, she wasn't even 5 feet tall. She was, and listen, I don't,
Are we talking the M word?
no.
Sorry, the D word.
You have to say them now so people won't think we're
No, everyone knows what the M word is. No.
midget is the word you're
shoot,
talking about.
We only get one of those before we get demonetized or whatever it is on YouTube, by the way.
Well,
The algorithm's going to shut
I don't
us
think
down.
she was a little person.
Okay, yeah.
I think she was just really short.
Sure.
And I don't know, is there because she was
What
proportionate.
I hear, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm about to speak out my butt, and I probably shouldn't. Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay.
Yeah,
to speak
I
out your
heard.
butt.
Someone told me that they heard that I heard. Yeah,
You said
no.
speak out your butt.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Is that the phrase, or am I using
I
it
don't
wrong?
No, I think that's a good phrase. That's the phrase that everybody knows what you mean when you say that.
Yeah. I'm sure people usually say "speak out my ass." That's what they say. But
Right.
I'm gonna PG it, right?
Yeah, we don't talk like that.
Not usually.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm thinking
Only in traffic.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
that's right. And only if you say it first.
Sure.
Yeah, so she was really short, but she
Okay.
was proportionate, but she was so short that it made me really uncomfortable. So I'm like, where can I go?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I've never been that way before.
Is
I'm rarely ever embarrassed
Yeah.
about anything, ever. I just don't get
So
embarrassed.
it was kind of an embarrassing feeling.
It felt that way.
Okay, so it was your own kind of vanity playing tricks on
I don't
yourself.
know if it was my vanity because she was pretty. She was a pretty girl.
Yeah.
But she was just so small that the first thing that crossed my mind is, where can we go that's a far away from it where anybody I know will see me?
Yeah.
So that was the part where I knew, okay,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable here.
Were you worried that some of your buddies were like, yo, I saw Kyle on a date with a child over there?
Listen, here's what happened.
Pedo Kyle running around
We ended up
town.
going to Fort Worth to like a movie, like the big movie theater that they project on the ceiling or something like that.
Oh, the Omni Theater?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't want to take her anywhere where I had
An IMAX type deal.
I didn't want to sit across from her at a table and eat with her because she couldn't
be
see over the
swinging her legs the whole time.
Yeah, and I would be all
I'm having such a great
I'd
time,
be-
Kyle.
and I would be afraid like waitresses would think I'm with a child or something.
Yeah.
Because she had a youthful look.
Would you like a kid's menu, sweetie? Sorry.
She gets the one with the coloring.
Yeah, she's coloring. I finished the maze.
So I'm figuring if we go to the movies, we'll just walk in, sit there, go home. You know?
Yeah.
But here was the worst part of all. So we get in line, and there's a long line.
Okay.
And I'm standing next to her in this line, and I'm telling you, it doesn't seem like she's taller than my waist. It was like she was a 9-year-old. And I looked down, and she was wearing, back in those days, they used to have these boots that would slide on girls. They were real popular. But they weren't cowboy boots. They were just like leather boots that would slide on.
Like a go-go boot, kind of?
Kind of like well, no, it wasn't. It didn't have a heel. It was flat.
Okay.
She needed a heel, but it was flat. Yeah, and it would scrunch down at their ankles. So it was kind of scrunched down. But then I looked down at her boots, and I swear, they had a point, and it was curled up. I swear.
Come on, man.
I swear.
Whatever.
That's what I saw in my
Hispanic?
mind.
Did she have some of those?
No.
Were they curly?
But it looked like that. I could have sworn she was wearing like elf shoes. And the whole time we stood in line, which was probably a minute, but it seemed like an hour. I swear.
What time of year were we talking about? Was it December?
It could have been around.
Just kidding. Come on.
No, because I was riding a motorcycle.
Okay.
So it wasn't-
Yeah.
It wasn't in December. But anyway, I felt like the whole.
Shouldn't you be on duty
whole
there?
Did you get the day off?
This is your busy time of year.
From
Come on, man. These poor girls. Some anonymous girl out there.
And we got into the movie, and it was
You know what? By the time she got to that age, she was done growing too.
She ain't growing no more.
If she's around still today, she's probably still that same size.
She's probably really tiny. Yeah, and and she was nice, and we had good chat on the way over there.
Yeah.
And back, it's about a 30-minute drive from where we met.
Okay.
So the chat over there and back was good.
In front of the bank. You said the bank tower?
Yeah, the bank tower, Oakwood Bank Tower. Yeah. And so we hopped on the freeway, went there, and then once the movie was over, I don't remember the movie or anything, we came right back, and we just I said, I kind of got to go. And
I'm trying to think of a funny joke of what the movie could have been. The Santa Claus or something like that?
Yeah, it was Snow White.
Snow White.
And she was singing along.
Yeah.
Hi-ho,
Oh my gosh. She was whistling with them.
I just tried to whistle I couldn't because I was laughing.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So that's kind of
The most awkward.
the most awkward.
Yeah.
So you have an awkward one? I'm curious.
Well, sorry, follow-up question.
Okay.
Because, obviously dating's a little bit different than it was, or now than my dating situation was different than yours, right?
Sure.
So typically after a date, there would always be follow-up text messages. Hey, I had a good time. Hey, this and this, And obviously in the new modern era, you can ghost somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't.
So what does a 1990 or 1980 something ghosting look like? How does that? How
It looks like
because it sounds like you ghosted her.
Well, I wouldn't say I ghosted her, but I didn't give her. I got we pulled in to the parking lot next to my motorcycle, and I said, "Thanks so much. I had a great time, and I'll see you later." And I just hopped on my motorcycle and took off. So I didn't tell her I was going to call her. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And
you didn't.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if I recall, I wouldn't even called her from my house because I didn't have a home phone. I lived in a garage apartment.
Okay.
And they didn't have cell phones back then.
Yeah.
So I probably, either went to my parents' house and called her or a friend's house.
You were doing it like Tony Soprano and Soprano and the Mafia dudes,
Yeah,
man.
I'm
like,
at a
are you at a
payphone?
payphone? No, Tony, I'm at a cell phone. Get to a payphone right now to set up the date.
You're laughing, but legitimately, I could have called her from a payphone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I called her
It sure
from.
wasn't the 7-Eleven phone. We learned that from one of our other stories.
That's right. After almost stepping on the dead guy. Yeah. It wasn't that 7-Eleven, but you know what? It could have been.
I'm pretty sure you've told that story on the pod.
Oh, yeah,
the pod by now. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to hear, go back to, it's one of the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, I almost stepped on a dead guy, and then tried to call the police from a payphone.
Sure.
And got the wrong number. Had to put another quarter in to call a second time.
How did you get the wrong number to the police station?
I went out and called the police, and I said,
Did you dial 912?
No, there's. 912. Yeah. Back then,
Darn, I knew that wasn't right.
Back then, you had to dial 744-4444 was the emergency number.
Okay.
I know, crazy. Yeah. And the guy in the 7-Eleven wouldn't let me use his phone.
Yeah.
I said, there's a dead guy over there. Call the police. He's like, you call him. I'm like, you're going to make me go use the payphone to call the police? He's like, yeah, you can't use my phone. So I went out, put a quarter in, dialed 744.
He was money laundering or something. He couldn't have no phone records.
I don't know what was going on. So I dial it up, and they say, press 1 for the police, 2 for the fire department, 3 for something else.
Uh-huh.
So I pressed 1 for the police, and they said, police station? I said, there's a dead guy over on 12th Avenue between Davis and Jefferson. And they said, well, you don't need us, you need the fire department. And I said, he's not on fire, he's dead. I remember saying that. Yeah. And she said, no, you call the fire department because they have the EMT, that's who you want out there.
Oh, interesting. We might be back.
And then they hung up. They didn't transfer me. So I had to put another quarter in, dial 744-4444 again.
Oh my gosh.
Those people that are as old as me will remember those days of 744.
Yeah. When did 911 come around?
I don't know. We'd have to look it up. I have no idea. But why did they not always do that?
I've always known it as 911.
Yeah.
We're backtracking a little bit. We might have already told pieces of that story about it.
Yeah, we have.
Anyway, back to awkward dates.
Yeah. So I want to hear yours now. So. The first question is, have you ever ghosted somebody? Just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
didn't even know what that was, by the way, until a couple months ago when the kids were teasing me about something. And they said, did you ghost them? And I'm like, what is that? And they said, you don't know what ghosting somebody is?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, what is it? And they explained to me, and I'm like, are you serious? People do that? I don't have those experiences.
Yeah, no, I have for sure. And not to be mean to anybody, you know,
right.
But yeah, it's kind of that same thing. It doesn't really, and I was fully integrated into the online dating thing.
Sure,
I was meeting girls on social media or on one of the swiping apps or something like that,
Did you slide into somebody's DMs?
I don't know if
I've heard that term. I don't know what it means. It sounds kind of
creepy. It means you see a pretty girl and then you just cold call message her, basically.
Okay.
I think that. I don't know if I ever did that either.
I hope that's what it means. I hope I didn't say something I'm not supposed to say.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
I don't think I ever did that either. There was always at least some kind of connection, like we were friends on, or friend of a friend, or we had matched on one of the apps or whatever,
Gotcha.
But yeah, you got catfished by a car door.
Yes.
By
the back seat of a
car.
By
the back seat. And, this is no secret, but sometimes people aren't as pretty in person as they are in their picture.
So that's your awkward date, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I had a couple of those where you show up and you're like, I'm not going to say that she's ugly or, but not what I thought, right?
My dad used to say...
You kind of hustle through those, right?
Yeah.
Typically, this is here. I'm giving you mobile dating 101.
Okay, I'm ready. Well, I don't know if I want to know this.
No. It's nothing bad, you know. And
okay.
I was never, a lot of the people use those apps for hookups and stuff like that. And that was never my deal either.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
I went to a weird Christian college, right? So nobody was really into. Well, there were some people who were, but typically it was.
Yeah.
You'd match with somebody, right?
Yeah.
And
it's all on the up and up dating kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because we're all weird Christians, you know what I mean, right? So, you learned after a couple of missteps that you set a low stakes meetup. You're like, hey, let's go get Dairy Queen.
Makes sense.
Right?
Makes sense.
And you can have a 25-minute Blizzard date and then dip out, right?
Get out of there.
And so that.
And they probably don't mind that either. Probably the other person.
No. Who doesn't want a Blizzard? You know what I mean? What?
Who doesn't want a blizzard?
Yeah, who doesn't want a
You know, I was going to say earlier.
Who doesn't?
My
That
dad,
might be our first merch. If we ever have merch, it's just who doesn't want a blizzard? Yeah.
My dad used to. This
By the
might
way,
be-
Dairy Queen, that's patent pending, by the way.
Yes, yes.
We're copyrighting
Who
that.
doesn't want a blizzard?
So
It's ours.
if I go get a Heath and, Snickers, whatever, and I see one of your employees that says, who doesn't want a blizzard?
Yeah, that's the C with the circle around
we're
it.
suing.
And here's the other one I think merch that we should do for the dating.
Okay.
My dad used to say, beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes all the way to the bone. that's my dad right there.
Yeah.
So let's.
And then you do the pleasantries like, hey, that was fun. See you around.
Right.
And then you never really message them again,
Right.
you know.
Sure.
Um,
So you don't even do the phone number. It's just all through that.
it's all in the
Awesome
app
app.
typically.
Can you
yeah.
block them after that if you need
Yeah,
to?
you can.
Okay,
I was never really.
Yeah.
If anybody was like, hey, can we go out again? I was pretty straightforward with them, you know.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's going to be.
yeah, but typically, I don't think I ever ghosted anybody that didn't also kind of ghost me, kind of deal, you know.
Yeah.
But that, I mean,
And you know what? I always tried to be reasonably kind about it. I was never.
yeah, I'm no.
Yeah, you're
I'm no,
ugly. I would
I'm
never
no
do-
prize.
Right.
What am
Yeah.
I? I'm no.
There you go.
I'm no catch.
Yeah.
Right.
We know who we are.
I'm not gonna mean girl somebody because
Right.
I ain't. You know, I ain't. I'm no trophy.
The
so
chances
it's
of
not like,
us getting mean girled are probably more than us staying with somebody else.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That doesn't. Yeah, that feels kind of like cheating talking about mobile date. So I do have an awkward date that I had in high school before any of that stuff came around.
Let's
right.
hear it. Yeah.
So I was friends with this girl that I went to middle school with, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. You have your middle school, and then usually, depending on where the boundaries lie, some will go to some high school and some will go to the other.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was a friend of mine from middle school. She went to one high school, I went to the other. But we stayed in touch. We were friends.
Right.
And then I think it was junior year, she says, hey, I'm looking for a date to go to my homecoming over at this other high school, right?
Okay.
So I had a date to Centennial's homecoming,
Your high school.
my high school, and then I was going to be her date to Mountain View's high school, her high school, right?
Yeah.
So, just fine, fun. When you do the whole, I don't know how homecoming was for you. Was it just the dance, or did you guys kind of build around it too? Because for us, it's like
you'd usually go to the football game together, but I played, so I don't really know how it normally works.
Well,
yeah.
so here, you have your football game Friday night, right? If you play, you give her your away jersey, and she wears it in the stands or whatever. I didn't play at that time. But on Saturday, it's kind of like the whole day is dedicated to you go on like a day activity, you go do something fun during the day, you go have dinner, and then you go to the to the dance, right?
Okay.
So that was all good. Usually you group up with people too, right? So you have like, a group of buddies that'll ask a bunch of girls, and then you all go together. You go do the activity together. You go do the dinner together.
Yeah.
And so I show up, and I don't know about anybody except for her. It's all her friends,
Right.
But I'm a fairly good social chameleon. You know what I mean? Chameleon. And so I started to make friends with them. All good. I don't remember what we did for dinner. I don't remember what we did during the day, but I remember when we got to the dance.
Okay. This is where it got awkward.
This is where it got awkward, right?
Okay.
This is where it got
the worst
awkward.
time for it to be awkward too, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, well.
Did she run off with some other guy?
No. Here's what it was.
Okay.
She refused to dance
She wasn't a dancer.
in any way, shape, or form.
Oh no, and the Jetsels were dancers.
We
like to dance.
Put an asterisk next to that. I don't know if we're dancers, but we like to.
But we like to dance, yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
we have a bit.
We
of
don't have
rhythm.
any formal training.
No, and we have a bit of. Yeah. We're not. Yeah, that goes the other direction. No.
Yeah.
We have rhythm, and we're okay to get on the dance floor and move around.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But she wouldn't. Not a shuffle, not a shoulder, not a nothing, dude.
So you just had to sit there with her? Or did you go dance with other girls?
Not with other girls, with other people.
Okay, groups.
I would either go, it's, I think dances, especially school dances, are getting more and more white, even across America. Maybe where we're at.
Where we're at, because I don't think they're getting that way.
Yeah. You'll stand in a circle with your friends and you'll dance and stuff like that, chat, right? And so she was standing in the circle, and the rest of us were dancing or grooving or whatever, and she was just kind of like,
just standing there.
Yep, twiddling her thumbs.
Did she have no rhythm, or?
I don't know what it was. Was
this girl a thin brunette girl? Really pretty girl?
I mean, she was. I can't remember her dimensions, to be honest. Okay. But yeah, she was a brunette girl, and she was pretty.
I always remember dimensions. I'm kidding.
Get out, you pervert.
I just wanted to use the word dimensions in context with a girl. That's the dumbest word you could use.
What? No.
I don't remember her dimensions. What, like you're measuring her?
That's what they...
24, 36,
aren't those
36?
referred to as dimensions?
Yeah, but...
Or measurements, I suppose.
The dimensions. Like you're making a 3D model or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You got the dimensions.
Yeah, like she's a skyscraper.
She had a good foundation.
Yeah. Girl, you built like a skyscraper. Tall and thin, you know? I don't know. Yeah, but so we stood in this circle.
Okay.
And I was dancing, you know, and I hate to say it, but she had a friend in the group who was really pretty.
Oh.
Right? And...
Did you make a little bit of...
I wasn't making a move.
A little flirty?
But, you know, when I step on the dance floor, they can't help it. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. She had a friend who was real pretty, and she... This is good. This is going to make me sound like a serious dirtbag.
Okay.
She was there with her boyfriend, right? But it was one of those deals where it was like, you could tell...
She had a little connection with you?
Well, I mean, I was dancing, having fun.
Yeah.
And
maybe her boyfriend wasn't so much.
He wasn't. I mean, he was fine. Here's what it was.
Okay.
Right? And this is me writing a backstory that probably doesn't exist.
I love those.
I love doing this. It's fun for me, right?
Me too.
She was so pretty, and he was all right. You know? And so to me, it looked like one of those situations where they started dating when they were in early middle school or something.
She hadn't realized she could do better yet.
No, not that she hadn't realized she couldn't do better, but when you're that little, everybody's cute.
Yeah, yeah.
But some ladies grow into
She had blossomed.
She had blossomed, and he had grown into a bit of a hillbilly. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But they've been together so long.
Yeah.
That they were still together, and I'm sure that, you know.
Yeah.
Either it didn't work out, or now they're a beautiful family with several kids, and they've been living the life that they want.
This is the year is 2000 and
10 or 11.
Okay, and it was Mountain View.
Yeah.
Prom.
No, don't. Yeah. Don't be putting no call out there. Don't be putting no call out there. No way.
I mess with you. Know, it's funny. Go ahead. But
yeah, I was having a good time, and her friend was having a real good time. And when two people were having a good time in the same group,
sure,
they typically I didn't pair off or go stand next to her or nothing. I wasn't going to be
right.
I wasn't going to be silly like that. But
yeah, that'd be too much.
But yeah, so she just wouldn't dance the whole time.
So when you after the prom is over,
yeah,
were you like, this is no good at all if she won't even move?
Yeah, she kind of like took me home.
Oh, she drove.
Well, yeah, because since I went with her and it was her group of friends,
okay, I
kind of just went like along for the ride type deal.
Yeah, I got
you know.
Yeah.
And so she took me home, and we didn't have so much to say to each other on the way home.
Gotcha.
And we didn't do a whole lot of talking after that either.
Kind of awkward.
You know, it was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really have any reason to be embarrassed, but it did make me feel kind of embarrassed. You know. Yeah. And I think she could sense that on me, that she had, you know, I shouldn't say she had embarrassed me, because she was who she was. She was who she was, you know. And I don't have any ill will towards her or anything, but yeah, I was. And I also started seeing people that I had gone to middle school with that had also gone off to that other high school, and so I was just roving around, goofing off, you know. And yeah, sometimes I was standing next to her dancing, and she wasn't doing anything. And sometimes I said, "I'll see you in a minute," and I would go around and kind of leave her to herself for a little bit, thinking if I leave her to herself, maybe by the time I come back, she's got a little bit of the groove in her.
Sure.
But it didn't happen that way. Yeah, it didn't happen.
So what about crazy? And if you want to think about
crazy girls,
no, like date that was kind of a crazy. I got two of them, and I'll let you decide which one you want to hear. So I got the one time I went to Chili's with the black girl, and something crazy happened. Or I got the time that I soaked a girl, drenched a girl with water.
I think I've heard that one before.
Okay.
Tell me the short version, because now everybody's going to hear. If anybody's watching, they're going to want to hear. So tell me a condensed version of the water one, and then tell me the other one.
So I was dating this girl. Her name was Patricia Hudgens.
Patricia Hudgens.
Beautiful brunette, tall, beautiful brunette.
Which, by the way,
yeah,
you like brunette girls.
Yes, she was, and she had big lips, beautiful big lips. Yeah,
Okay.
By the way, I met her in a grocery store. She was a cashier. And I got in her line on purpose.
And you picked her up in line?
I got in her line on purpose, and I said, you know what? I think you should let me take you out sometime. And she said, that's okay with me, but you have to ask my mom. I said, I'll ask your mom. She said, she's right behind you in line. And I turned around, there was this little round woman right behind me in line.
And you said, can I go out with your daughter?
And she said, sure, yeah. So we ended up dating for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And at first she was,
now what I'm picturing is anytime she saw a cute dude in line, she went, Mom to aisle 3, mom to register 3. Yeah.
Mom might have been close by.
Yeah.
Mom, you got to get over here. I think this guy's getting in my line.
This guy's about to ask me out. I'm going to need your approval.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, but Patty Hudgens she was fun.
Sure.
She had a tendency to nag me a little bit about stuff, and I wasn't for that at all. But she was beautiful that I would put up with certain.
Yeah, and when you say nagging, like, oh, you should switch lanes right now.
Yes.
Oh, you should
park there.
Yeah, park there. Oh,
yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And not just backseat driving, but like the other stuff too.
Yeah.
Right.
Not just in the car, but other stuff.
Sure.
You're gonna wear those pants? We're dating.
Yeah.
So anyway, we decided to
That's
go
wife
dancing.
territory, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can put up with it.
Sure.
But I wasn't at that point yet.
Okay.
So I had a Carmen Ghia, a little Volkswagen Carmen Ghia that had a hole in the floorboard.
Okay.
And I had covered it up with a
Why
mat.
did it have a hole in the floorboard?
Because it was old and junky.
Was it rusting out?
It was rusted out, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't want to stand up and jump up and down on that floorboard because if you did, it would fall through.
Did you have a mat over the top?
I had a mat over it, yeah, just a rubber mat.
So you could hear it kind of rattling
You really
down there.
couldn't because everything rattled and it was a hunk of junk.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I drove over a puddle and it put a little water in the like it came up through that hole. And so I thought, I better be careful with that, right? Well, anyway, she'd been nagging me a little bit, and I show up to her house, and she's wearing a beautiful dress, and she has these shoes on that she had dyed the color of her dress to match. So she was real into fashion.
Okay.
And she should have been because she was the kind that needed to look
pretty.
that way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So she had like an aquamarine dress on.
That's the exact color.
No way.
Yeah. And it had fringe on it. Yeah, it was a beautiful
dress. So she went and bought some white shoes and she dyed them that same aquamarine.
Yes.
Okay.
And she was sure proud of it.
What were you guys on the way to do?
Well, we were going to go dancing at a club this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Fat Albert's.
Fat Albert's was the name of the club.
A club in Oak Cliff, yeah.
Did it go, hey, every time you opened
it? Didn't do that at the door. But there was a guy that worked there named Albert, and he was a fat guy, and he ran the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. Did he look like the cartoon character?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But there was plenty of mush mouths in there. I'm kidding. No, there was.
What is that?
Hey, Albert.
Oh my gosh.
You know that guy?
No.
You got to watch an episode of Fat Albert.
Okay.
Yeah. So we get in the car and we start to drive.
Mush mouth. How has that not become like a semi-slur for dudes with speech impediments?
Well, Mushmouth had the hat that went over his whole head, and he was talking through the hat.
Okay.
If you watch the cartoon. Yeah. So anyway.
Doesn't that sound like a slur, though?
It does, yeah. and if it is, I apologize. I didn't know
we
that.
can't use any of them mush mouths in our country.
We're not purposely... We're not purposefully using slurs.
Yeah.
Not this time.
You know what would be a funny exercise? Is to make up slurs that don't apply to anybody.
And just throw them out?
And throw them around.
And see what...
But use them, like I said, in the context of, man, we got to get them out of here.
Oh.
And watch people go, which minority are they referring to? Right? And depending on who they think you're talking about, they're racist.
There you go. You and them.
Yeah. How did we get here? Yeah. Anyway...
Yeah, so
she had the dyed shoes on.
We get in the car.
And you were on your way to Fat Albert's.
We're on our way to Fat Albert's. We're driving down this back road, heading over to the freeway to jump on I-67.
By the way, I'm sorry. When I think of, I'm picturing Fat Albert's, right? And it looks like a club from the Purple Rain movie.
Yeah.
That's all I can picture.
Similar, a little bit higher ceilings, a little bit
quite as
bigger
neon,
joint.
maybe.
There is a stage, though.
Okay,
They could have done bands, but they didn't generally do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But it didn't have the floor. It didn't have a disco floor that would light up or anything.
Sure.
But pretty much all of them had disco balls in those days.
Yeah.
Because we were just
I think any club that's worth its weight in salt has at least a disco ball, even if it's not
disco.
Yeah, and even if it's not being reflected on, it's still got to be up there in case you need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going down this back road, and she starts nagging me immediately, and I'm like, you know what? I've kind of had it. I mean, I was thinking,
how many dates have you been on with her?
Quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of months, maybe 3 months we had dated.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm done, you know? And she just started nagging me, and I'm like, I guess I just wasn't feeling it. And I'm thinking, and so it starts to rain, and I see a little puddle. And I think to myself, if I go through the puddle, it'll get up on her feet and her shoes will get undone and I'll have to take her home.
Yeah.
And then
you wanted to undye them.
I wanted to undye them.
Because I figure at least get them a little wet so she's worried they'll undye.
I thought they would just ooze blue everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought they would. I thought
it would bath bomb the bottom of your car.
Yeah, and she wasn't going to go out not looking perfect.
Sure.
So whatever it was going to do, right? So I see this puddle, and I'm driving, and I think I'm just going to swerve over. It'll fill up where her feet are, and I'm like, oh no, right? Oh no, your feet are all wet. We can't let you go out looking like that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I would take her home, and I would get out of there. I hadn't thought through my exit plan. But so as I'm driving, I kind of see that puddle, and I kind of swerve a little bit quick because it's coming up quick. And I had to plan very quickly because I saw the puddle. And I'm like, I got to get, so I, and when I did, I didn't realize the first time I drove through a puddle, I was going like 3 miles an hour and it came up slowly. But when you're going 30 and you swerve, it came up like a freaking geyser. I remember I hit the puddle and I blinked and we're both dripping. It had come up through that hole so hard that the entire inside of my car was soaked. And I looked over and she was just like a wet rat.
Oh.
And she had her hair all floofed up and pretty looking.
Hair sprayed up and everything. Yeah.
And she said to me, "You did that on purpose." And I said, I didn't.
You didn't disguise nothing, man.
I said, no, I didn't. And she said, "I saw you swerve."
Yeah. Did you do the speed? Like Speed Racer?
I don't think I made the noise, but looking back, it would have been a better story if I had made. Yeah. But anyway, I took her home. That was the last date we ever went on. It was over. And so that was the one that was.
And she said, "Mom, remember that dude at the grocery store?"
Yeah. By the way, her dad was a big, tall, handsome dude. So I think she got her looks from her dad.
Oh, okay.
But he worked for the IRS. So I never got real close to that guy. I met him once or twice.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you got audited on the third day.
Yeah. How you like? I'll audit. Yeah, you don't want to get too tight with a girl like that because you will get audited if you break up with her. So I didn't think that through either. Of course, I didn't make any money at the time. I was just a goofball. So, yeah, that's a pretty.
I'm trying to think if I have anything like that where
something went wrong or you had my black girl date.
Okay. By the way, if the name of this episode isn't Black Girl in a Chili's, I don't know what we're doing. We might be doing it wrong. I might have to do some market research to see if we get in trouble for that.
So, you might get
okay,
get in trouble.
The tale of the black girl in the Chili's. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I meet this black girl. I don't remember where. It could have been Fat Albert's.
Okay.
So she meets me at Chili's, and she was a beautiful. I was pretty.
Yeah.
If I'm going to date somebody.
By the way, I would imagine that Chili's is the go-to dinner date.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is an entry level kind of deal. Yeah,
reasonably priced. This is in the like I said, mid to late 90s, mid 90s. So yeah, I'm sorry, mid 80s. Yeah, mid 80s. So yeah, it's just a place you go. And she lived in Duncanville, I think.
Okay.
Because Fat Albert's was kind of in Oak Cliff, but close to Duncanville. For those people that know Texas a little bit in that area.
Yeah.
And I don't know who would remember Fat Albert's, but anyway. It was at the corner
Albert, if you're out there,
yes,
we want to hear from you.
At the corner of Hampton and 67, Fat Albert's.
Okay, Albert, we're looking for you, man.
Come see us.
Please come. Please reach out to us.
Send us a Fat Albert's T-shirt. But
no, I'll buy the T-shirt. I just want to hear from you, Albert. Anyway.
Yeah, so I sit down with her. I wait in the parking lot. She comes rolling up, and we walk in together, and we sit down at a table. And so we're just, we get, Dr. Pepper or whatever, and we're chatting about a few things, and she stands up to go use the restroom. And when she stands up to go use the restroom, like 4 more black girls rush the table on me. And I didn't realize it at that time. But if you're a white guy dating a black
wait,
girl,
hold on. Before you give me the fortune cookie of it all.
Yeah.
Was it like 4 black girls that were there?
I don't know why they were there.
Together, or it was like one from here, one from there, one from there.
I don't know where they came from. I don't know where they came from. But not only did they come up to my table, they had their numbers written on little pieces of paper and just put them in my hand.
Yeah.
You date black girls?
All 4 of them.
And they didn't care about the other ones that came up. They saw each other doing that.
And they said, you date black girls.
You date black girls? Here's my Yeah. And so I'm like, what the heck, man? I'm like, well, I'm on a date. They're like, just stick it in your pocket.
Don't let her know.
For later.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so they jettison as quickly as they come, and she comes back, and I'm thinking, I remember one of them like had on a red shirt, and she was the prettiest, and I'm thinking, if I'm going to call one of them, it would be her.
It would be her.
But I don't know which phone number it is or anything.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, what do I do, you know?
Yeah.
Or do I even do it? It doesn't seem right, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a date with a girl.
I'm trying to think of how to put black girl and Russian roulette together, but that's basically what you have.
By the way,
or any of them.
Because you could come across a girl who. I had a black girl throw a brick at my head one time. I wouldn't go out with her.
Oh no,
dude, you're laughing. In high school, she wanted to go on a date and I didn't want to.
Was she on the softball team? Did she huck it at you?
I don't remember what.
Thank goodness, right?
But she was rough.
Oh no.
I think I was scared of her, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And she was so upset with
me.
me.
She was carrying around a brick all the time.
I don't know where she got it. I don't know where she got it, but she hit me in the head with a brick. Opened my head wide up.
Jeez.
I know. I'm like, so you don't really know.
Yeah.
And the girl comes back and we just start chatting again. And then I think she's looking around and she's seeing stuff. She's getting signals. And she said, did some girls come up and give you their numbers while I walked away?
She knew.
She knew. And I said, yeah, they did. And she said, I'm glad you didn't lie to me. I said,
oh, jeez.
I know.
That sounds like a threat.
I know. I just kind of sloughed it off because I was a little tougher back then.
Sure.
But I'm like, you know what? The number's in my pocket. You can have them. Because then I thought, I don't know what to do. I'm in water,
uncharted territory right now.
I'm drowning in this water. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know. And I remember I gave her the phone numbers, and then she tore them up or something or threw them away, or I don't remember what she did with them.
Yeah.
But we went on the date and we had a pretty good time, and we ended up going out a couple more times. But that was really the only time, and it might have been because we were in the Chili's that was right by Redbird Mall, which was right on the edge of Oak Cliff.
Okay.
So it was a little bit more multicultural at the time too. After that, we went to a couple of clubs, and I didn't have the same experience.
So I cut you off. What did you learn? You were about to say, I learned that day something about black girls in general. What did you?
Well, I learned, by the way, back then, I learned if I wanted to go on a date with a black girl, I just connected with another black girl, and I had plenty of opportunities.
Sure.
And I did some of that.
Yeah.
But also, later on, in my jacket pocket, I had a jacket hanging over. There was phone numbers in there too. I didn't even know they got in there.
Oh my gosh.
So I think maybe, because I ended up going to the restroom, and I don't know what happened, but I didn't call any of them because I was a little bit, frankly.
Yeah.
That's awful forward.
You're like, do they all have bricks on them?
That happened in high school, so I was cautious for sure.
Yeah.
But also, I've always been a fan of very feminine women.
Sure, yeah.
And a very feminine woman wouldn't approach me, you know.
Interesting.
So that always was a little bit of a, I'm not so sure about this.
Okay.
Because I like the femininity part of women more than
And probably also you like to be the cavalier of it. You know
I
what
like
I mean?
to do the chasing. Yeah, I was the hunter.
Yeah.
And I didn't care to be hunted. And I felt kind of that way that night.
Yeah.
But that was a kind of a creepy, weird date. I guess now it's funny.
Oh
Back then
gosh.
it was just weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh.
But you don't have any too.
I don't think anything like that.
I like the awkward date. Didn't you have a girlfriend that you kind of liked a little bit? I'm going to remind you of one.
Uh-oh.
And if I'm not mistaken, we had bought a kitchen table and chairs. Do you remember this? For Mom to paint and resell.
Yeah, there was a girl that I had gone on a handful of dates with, and one of those kitchen table and chairs that we sanded up and painted and gave to her.
You gave to her?
Yeah.
Because they were moving or something like that.
You know what? Okay. Not to backtrack, not that I'm afraid of telling that story, but I do have a story for you.
Okay, good.
Okay, I do have a story for you, and then we can probably end it there.
Okay.
The girl I dated my freshman year of college, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was an athlete in high school.
Okay.
Right? And I wasn't.
Do I know this? I know this girl.
Probably. I mean, you might have. Yeah.
I
dated her for a little while, so you probably did meet her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. But she was an athlete in high school, and I wasn't really. I played sports, but it would be hard pressed to qualify me as an athlete in high school. You know what I mean?
You played high school football.
I played high school football. I rode the bench.
You played rugby.
I played rugby, and I got plenty of playing time.
You're an athlete.
Yeah, and and I did a little bit of lifting, and I did a little bit of jogging, whatever, right? But I qualify it because she was definitely an athlete.
Okay.
Right? Like all the sports, and she was a valedictorian, and I think she was like all state in volleyball.
Okay.
Right?
Athlete, boy.
She was an athlete.
Yeah.
And she hung her hat. That was
the
thing that was most important to her, right?
Sure.
And so we lived in the same apartment complex. She lived like across the street basically. And there was this little like little basketball court in the courtyard deal of it, you know?
Right.
So we'd shoot hoops together and stuff like that all the time. This is before I played a lot of basketball.
Right.
And one time we're up on campus and we're up in like the athletic building where all of the courts and the swimming pool and the
intramurals,
all that stuff takes place up there, right? And we're walking by and we see these guys hooping and they're like, hey, we need a couple more to play fours. We don't even have enough for, to play fours, play half court fours.
Okay.
You want to jump on?
Okay.
And I was like, I'm with my girl. We're just walking through, you know what I mean? Right. And she's like, no, let's both of us will play.
Okay.
Right?
She's an athlete.
She's an athlete. She wants to play, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. So we jump on, and obviously they go, well, you're guarding your girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Did she smoke you?
No. No, she didn't.
You got smoked by a girl?
No. She was fine. She was good, you know?
Yeah.
Here's what happened, though, and here's where it got real awkward, right? And it was probably the first sign that things weren't meant to be with us long term.
Okay.
Right? I was out rebounding her. You know what I mean? And it's not like I was, throwing bows or, boxing her out super hard, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Well, it's okay to out rebound somebody.
But I was out rebounding her.
My question is, how did she react to that?
That's where it got awkward.
Okay, there you go.
That's where it got awkward.
Yeah.
Right? Because at one point I jump up to grab a rebound, and when I jumped, only half of my body went into the air. Right? So I jumped up like this, and this shoulder went down, and that shoulder went up.
She's holding you down.
And I looked down, and she had grabbed, not only was she holding me, she had grabbed my wrist with both her hands, and she had yanked real hard on me.
She was competitive.
She was real upset.
Okay.
She was real upset.
Yeah.
Right? And this is 18-year-old Alec, by the way.
Right.
I kind of got in her face.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't ever do that to me ever again.
Or I'm going to pop you.
Right? I didn't say that. Okay. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But the way that I got in her face and the way I said, you don't ever do that again.
Right.
I think that or I'll whatever.
Sure, that goes without saying. Yeah.
But of course, I was never going to hurt her.
No, of course.
I don't have that in me, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we finished the game. It is what it is. And on the way home, she was like, hey, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, that's fine. We're just never going to play ever again.
Right.
And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, we're not going to play ever again.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, that's not for us. But she was, she was good. But it's just a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. And what I think really upset her was that I didn't play basketball in high school.
Oh.
Right? And so she thought she should be better than me.
She was expecting to smoke you, and she was competitive.
Yeah. And fundamentally, I'm sure she was better than me.
Right. Fundamentally.
I just, I was just bigger and stronger. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's. I would say that was my awkward.
Gotcha.
A little bit of crazy date.
Gotcha.
And I thought that there was more to that story. I thought I had a follow up to alley-oop into it, but I don't think I did.
Alley-oop?
Yeah, literally alley-oop into it. Oh, yeah, I do actually.
Okay, good.
I do. Okay, and this will be the finale, right?
Okay.
So we never did play together, but she was on an intramural team, right?
Right.
And the girls' intramural team.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly what the rules are, but for whatever reason, you had to have 5, obviously, players, and you had to have a coach.
Okay.
Right? That was part of the league rules. I don't really know why. Basically, someone to stand on the sidelines and manage people subbing in and out. Right? So one day she asked me, hey, can you come coach for us? Right? Okay. And what she meant was stand on the sidelines and shut up. Just be there because we need you. Right?
Right.
And so, which if I had known...
Yeah.
If I'd known that's what she meant.
Because you didn't play high school basketball and you don't know what she knows. So
I don't
you
know
just
what
need
she
to be
knows,
quiet.
right? So anyway, halftime rolls around. Halftime rolls around. And
were you coaching?
No, I was like, hey, who needs minutes? And I was subbing in and out.
Get back on defense?
Yeah. Just the usual stuff, right?
Yeah.
But one of the other girls on the team, she said, hey, Alec, do you notice anything? Right? Just, it was another girl that asked. It wasn't her.
Okay.
Right? And so I said, I think some of y'all need to rebound and some of y'all need to shoot. And I think you know who you are.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? And I hopefully I said,
You're lucky you didn't get rung up.
I know. And before they started again, the girl I was dating, she said, hey, which woman am I?
Oh, she didn't know?
Well, I think she knew, but she was testing me, right? And so she said, which one am I? And I said, I don't think you should stop shooting, but you're the tallest girl. So if you don't get rebounds second half, I'm benching you. Gotcha. And I said it with a smile. I said, right? I was being truthful on the you better go get rebounds because she was the tallest on the team, right?
Right.
So I said, you better go get rebounds. And then I grinned and I said, and if you don't, I'm going to bench you. Right? And I said it like that, thinking it was cutesy.
Yeah.
She didn't see it that way at all, man. She was frustrated at me.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I didn't get invited back to coach. I didn't even get invited back to watch any of those games.
Right. Yeah. I think you brought her home to one time.
Yeah, and she was a sweet
nice
girl.
girl.
Yeah, she was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we worked out. We didn't work out for. It wasn't because we were competitive or anything like that. But you know, some things just don't
work out.
Yeah, I can't even tell you what it was. I don't remember.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. Well, there you go, huh?
Yep.
Awkward, weird. We've all had them.
Yeah. And like I said, I really want to hear from Fat Albert. If you're out there, Albert, reach out to us.
Albert might be dead by now. I think he was.
Don't say that. I want him to be alive. I want him to be
Albert,
alive.
if you're alive.
Yeah, Albert. Yeah.
And if you know Fat Albert, if you know Albert that ran the Fat Albert's.
Say the address
club,
again.
It was at the corner of 67 and Hampton Road in Oak Cliff.
Okay, Albert, we're looking for you. Cool.
See you
guys
next time.